Hi, my name is Gerard Lanfear. I'm a web application developer in Windows and now Google Technologies. In my years as a developer, I've built forms in many languages and database packages. Forms are one of the primary ways our users communicate with our data systems. I've always been interested in ways of automating the aspects of coding that might be considered repetitive or even drudgery. I've been working on an experimental project to do just that using Angular Reactive Forms. The form you see here is not hard-coded into HTML and JavaScript. I've built a component which allows the structure of a form and its nested child forms to be stored in a database and rendered dynamically on the page. Following that, I built a user interface to allow those forms to be edited and new forms created. In the next few minutes, I'll be building this example form, which contains some validation elements and interactive elements right out of the box. I'm going to be keeping the details light for now, but we'll touch on a few of the more technical aspects of using this form generator later in this video. We'll start by dragging a label onto the form for the title. The control ID is the internal name of the control and what we'll be using to access its value when the form is submitted. As this is a label on the form, you can set the color, font weight, size, and of course the text of the label. Application for Coding Heroes. We'll specify that the text is to be centered on the page, and we click the button to apply those metadata values. Next up, we have 4 text box controls to get the identity of the information of the applicant. We have the first name. We'll require that input. Specify one of the 3 available text box types. Enter label text and apply the changes. We'll do that the same way for the last name. And next up, we'll drag on a control for the email address. Specifying email as a type, we'll run behind the scenes regular expression test against the input to verify that it's valid. Lastly, for this line, we have a date control. Alright, so I'm going to skip to the bottom of the form for a moment and then fill in the middle after that. I want to show you first the panel and tab controls. Any predefined form that's already been saved in the database can be used as the contents of a panel or a tab. So what we end up with is nested forms or forms within forms. Alright, so we'll apply it, and then now put on a tab group form. This basically contains a number of panels, all containing nested forms and accessible within the tab buttons. Specify minimum height, just to make it look good. Now these are going to be the labels for the tabs and the contents of what's in the tab. It's predefined. It's just another form that we've already created. Now let's see where we're at this point. Looking good. Alright, let's add a few lines for our middle section. Let's add a drop-down control. Where it it is. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Drop down list. Okay, this is going to be our bravery rating. So we're going to add some items in here for the choices. This control here is really just key pairs of value in the key. So I have a few types of radio button groups available. One of them is meant to look like a push button on a console. I just did that with CSS. This is going to be a yes or no question. And the question is, do you own a lava lamp? Well, I guess we're going to pass judgment on whether you own such things. It's going to be a yes and a no. And we're going to default this to no because, well, no. So now when we have a yes or no choice, we can add a control that's triggered by that response. So it'll hide it or show it based on whether the response is yes or no. We're going to ask for the color of the lava. We can trigger either on yes or no. And we're going to choose that yes or no question as the trigger. Okay, let's put on a radio box bar asking some questions about your entertainment preferences. Of course, we need to know which of the Stooges are your favorites. We're going to default to none, which is actually my choice. And then we'll just fill in their names. Okay, then we're going to put in a more traditional looking radio button group and ask you how you feel about the Brady Bunch. Who's your favorite Brady character? Let's fill in the names. So this next one is a summary, I call it. What it is it's a checkbox control that when it appears on the screen, it's just going to show you the choices that you've made. And the label text is going to be a bunch of lorem ipsum. Who what demo is complete without some lorem ipsum? So the inner part of this question is going to be, during your time off, what activities do you like to do? And what it's going to show you is just the choices you make are going to appear on the screen after it's closed. So now we have a couple of cosmetic controls that we're going to put on. One of them is a line. We can just draw a nice line across the screen, give it a color. I'm going to choose a nice red color for that. You saw that color chooser. We can even put that color chooser on the screen by itself. There it is. And what's your favorite color? So finally, I'm just going to slap a big text area on the form and allow the user to go into a rant. You may rant in this space. All right. Well, let's preview the form, take a look at it, see if everything's working. There's our hidden item that's based on your choice. And we have validation working. That's good. Looking good. Date control works. And our tabs. I'm going to get a little more technical here for a few minutes and discuss how a developer might use the dynamic form component in their development. Now, the first and easiest way is simply to display the control full screen and allow the user to fill out the form as designed. And the way you do this is in your routes. When the user clicks on Submit, or whatever you define the button label as, a glob of JSON is sent in the click event payload containing the keys and the resulting values. You just populate your database with the entry values. The second way you saw quite a few times in the form building demonstration section we just saw. If you recall the left panel that opens when you drag on a control or click on the edit button of an existing one. By simply including the tag for the dynamic form component in your HTML, you are including all of the functionality of the dynamic form component in your application. All of these user interface panels are dynamic forms defined using our control. Every type of control we have created here has a corresponding form group. So, a developer can use these tools to create entire pages of data entry controls. In the future, I intend to continue to create compatible controls to get as close as possible to user interfaces which are defined in the database as much as possible. Where else am I going with this? So, I have a few things planned for the future. First, I'm going to create a few more videos doing a deep dive into the internals of Angular form groups and the details of how this component was created. Next, I want to port the component to the new Blazor platform so we can also use it in Blazor. Also, I recognize that a user may want to do things on the screen that the dynamic form component is not capable of supporting. I want to create a component which will write out the Angular code so it can be plugged in to any application. I know that I haven't given you a boatload of details yet on this, and I'll get to that. And I'm thinking about publishing the code of the component also out on GitHub. I'll get to those things even faster if I know that somebody's interested in those. So if you drop me a line, drop me an email at the address I'm showing you, then I'll know that you're interested in going further with this. So thanks for watching. I'm Gerard Lanfear. Bye.